The grand amphitheater of the Galactic Council buzzed with tension. Representatives from over 300 species perched, floated or oozed in their designated areas. All eyes, sensory appendages, and quantum perception fields focused on the central podium. High Counselor Vextor, a being composed primarily of crystalline structures arranged in a vaguely humanoid shape, raised all four of his upper limbs to call for silence. The vote has been cast, Vextor announced, voice amplified to reach the furthest corners of the chamber. With an overwhelming majority of 298 to 2, the Galactic Council hereby declares war on the species known as humans. The chamber erupted in sounds ranging from high-pitched whistles to low rumbling growls, the alien equivalent of thunderous applause. For too long we have tolerated their insolence, Vextor continued, his crystals flashing with righteous indignation. Their blatant disregard for proper diplomatic protocols, their refusal to properly categorize their technology according to Council standards, and their persistent habit of responding to formal communications with what they call memes. Today we put an end to this behavior. Another round of alien approval echoed through the chamber. The 1,000-year peace that has blessed our galaxy is now officially over. The human problem will be resolved through force, as is our right as the elder species of this quadrant. Commander Jack Thornton of the United Earth Defense Force received the transmission in his office aboard the Mars Orbital Command Center. He sipped his coffee watching the dramatic declaration with one eyebrow raised. When it concluded, he tapped his communication panel. "Hey Melissa, you seeing this?" he asked, leaning back in his chair. Lieutenant Commander Melissa Rodriguez's face appeared on screen, her expression a mirror of his own bemused one. "Yeah, the aliens are throwing a tantrum again. Did we even know we were at peace with them?" Jack asked, scrolling through the official war declaration that had arrived moments after the broadcast. "I think it was mentioned in orientation. Page 90-something of the diplomatic handbook," Melissa replied with a shrug. "Under miscellaneous alien cultural quirks or something." Jack snorted. "Well, apparently we're at war now. Should I cancel my fishing trip next weekend?" "I wouldn't bother," Melissa said, tapping at her tablet. "According to our tech assessment, their most advanced warship has approximately the same firepower as one of our mining drones." "Wonderful," Jack said, finishing his coffee. "Forward this to Central Command, with my recommendation that we update our threat assessment from negligible to mildly amusing, and maybe send them back one of those cat videos they hate so much. The one with the box and the cucumber." As the declaration of war spread across human communication channels, the reaction was universally consistent, uncontrollable laughter. The war that would change the galaxy forever had begun, and humanity hadn't even bothered to get up from their chairs. Space Station Omega hung in Earth orbit like a massive metal snowflake, its gleaming spires catching the sun as it rotated. Inside the central hub, Captain Ellie Bronson had gathered her senior staff for what was technically a war briefing, though it felt more like happy hour. "All right people, settle down," Ellie said, trying to maintain some semblance of military decorum. She was a seasoned officer with salt and pepper hair and laugh lines that had earned their place over decades of service. "Yes, the Galactic Council has declared war on us. No, this is not an excuse to start a betting pool on how quickly they'll surrender." Chief Engineer Rex Murphy, a burly man with forearms like tree trunks and a beard that seemed to have its own gravitational pull, raised his hand. "Too late, Captain. Odds are currently 5 to 1 they'll surrender before they fire a single shot." This set off another round of laughter among the dozen officers seated around the conference table. "What I don't understand," said Dr. Olivia Patel, the station's xenobiologist, "is why they think this is a good idea. Their scans must have shown our defensive capabilities. It's like watching a toddler challenge a heavyweight boxer." Lieutenant Danny Cooper, the youngest officer present and the station's communications specialist, pulled up a holographic display. "I've been studying their transmissions for months. From what I can tell, they genuinely believe their technology is superior to ours." "How is that possible?" asked Security Chief Marcus Wong. "We've been openly mining asteroids with antimatter drills. Our civilian shuttles use quantum tunneling for propulsion. Hell, my nephew's science fair project last year was a small-scale fusion reactor." Danny shrugged. "They think we're bluffing. They believe our technology is actually borrowed or stolen from other species." "That's adorable," Rex chuckled. "Which species do they think we stole from?" "The Zentari. Those guys still think digital watches are pretty neat." Ellie tapped the table to bring the meeting back to order. "All right, enough joking around. Admiral Hayes has issued standard protocols. We continue normal operations but maintain defensive readiness. No provocative actions, no escalation. If they want to play war, we'll humor them until they get bored. Or until they actually fire on something human and get turned into space confetti, muttered Rex. Did anyone tell Terry about this? Asked Olivia suddenly. He's out there in that experimental scout ship testing the new stealth system. Marcus pulled up another hologram showing a small one-person spacecraft drifting near Jupiter. Terry Blake, our resident test pilot and practical joker extraordinaire. Should we recall him? Nah, Ellie decided after a moment's thought. Terry can handle himself. Besides, that scout ship has enough firepower to take out half their fleet if needed. Though knowing Terry, he'd probably just reprogram their navigation systems to spell out rude words with their flight paths. The station's AI chimed in, its voice pleasantly neutral. Captain, we're receiving an incoming transmission from the Galactic Council fleet. They're requesting visual confirmation of our surrender. The room fell silent for a moment, before everyone burst into renewed laughter. Oh, this is going to be fun, Ellie said, wiping tears from her eyes. Put them through on the main screen. Let's see what the galaxy's most optimistic invaders have to say. As the alien face appeared on screen, the humans composed themselves, desperately trying to look serious. They failed miserably, of course. The 1,000-year peace might be over, but the entertainment had just begun. Admiral Krex paced the command deck of the Galactic Council's flagship, the inevitable Victory. His 6 legs clicked rhythmically against the polished floor, while his forearms gestured in increasingly agitated patterns. As a Nexilian, Krex resembled something between a mantis and a centaur, with chitinous plates covering a body that stood nearly 7 feet tall. His species was known for strategic brilliance and unwavering discipline, both qualities being severely tested at the moment. Explain to me again, Krex said, mandibles twitching in frustration, why the humans appear to be laughing at our war declaration. Fleet Tactician Zorb, a gelatinous blue cube floating in a gravity suspension field, wobbled nervously. Unknown Admiral. Our psychological analysis suggested they would respond with fear and immediate capitulation. Yet instead, they sent us what appears to be a video of a small furry creature being startled by a vegetable, Krex said, his voice dangerously calm. A cat and a cucumber, sir, clarified cultural specialist Plink, a diminutive avian creature with iridescent feathers and oversized glasses perched on her beak. It's a form of human humor. They appear to be not taking us seriously. Admiral Krex stopped pacing and turned to face the massive view screen showing Earth in the distance. The inevitable Victory led a fleet of 500 warships, the mightiest armada assembled in centuries. Each vessel was armed with ion cannons, plasma torpedoes, and crews trained to the peak of military perfection. I have studied humanity since they stumbled onto the galactic scene 60 years ago, Krex said. They are primitives who barely mastered space travel. Their ships are ungainly, their weapons primitive, their tactics non-existent. By all rights, they should be trembling before our might. Perhaps, offered Science Officer Quix, a tall spindly being composed of what appeared to be animated plant matter, we have miscalculated something fundamental about them. The bridge fell silent. Quix was known for being unnecessarily intellectual, but occasionally insightful. Impossible, snapped Krex. The High Council has analyzed every aspect of human technology. They are generations behind us. Their vessels lack even basic quantum shielding. Then why? Asked Quix, gesturing toward another screen showing a human mining operation casually extracting raw materials from an asteroid belt. Are their mining drones utilizing what appears to be controlled antimatter reactions? Admiral Krex waved a dismissive limb. Clearly stolen technology they don't fully understand. Probably salvaged from a derelict Zentari vessel. Plink cleared her throat. The Zentari don't have antimatter technology, sir. Then it's a clever fake to intimidate us, Krex insisted, his exoskeleton clicking with irritation. Execute attack pattern Alpha 9. Target their orbital defensive platforms. A single precise strike will demonstrate our power and bring them to their senses. The command was relayed, and 5 Galactic Council destroyers broke formation, accelerating toward Earth's orbit. Their weapons charged, targeting systems locked onto a human space station that appeared to be nothing more than a collection of primitive modules. What happened next would be debated in Galactic Council military academies for centuries to come. As the destroyers approached firing range, they simply stopped. Their engines continued to burn, but the vessels remained motionless in space, as if held by an invisible hand. Report, Krex demanded, all 6 legs rigid with tension. The destroyers are caught in some kind of field. Tactical Officer Bleem responded, their eye stalks quivering. It's not a tractor beam, not an ion net. It's something our sensors can't identify. On the screen, the destroyers hung helplessly in space. Then, slowly, they began to rotate, spinning like toys until they were pointing back toward the Galactic Council fleet. The communications officer's console chimed. "We're receiving a transmission from the human station, Admiral." The view screen flickered, and Captain Ellie Bronson's face appeared. She wasn't even in uniform, instead wearing what appeared to be casual exercise attire, and holding some kind of hot beverage. "Hi there," she said cheerfully. "Just a friendly reminder that your ships were about to enter a restricted testing zone. We've temporarily borrowed control of your engines for safety reasons. We'll send them back your way now, nice and slow. No harm done, right? Oh, and next time maybe call ahead. We've got a lot of experimental stuff floating around that could be dangerous if you bump into it accidentally." The transmission cut off, and the destroyers began drifting back toward the fleet, their engines completely powered down. Admiral Krex's mandibles clicked rapidly, the Nexilian equivalent of a human's jaw dropping in shock. "What?" he finally managed to say, "just happened?" No one on the bridge had an answer. The 1,000-year peace was indeed over, but not in the way anyone had expected. The neutral zone station floated at the exact midpoint between the human defense perimeter and the Galactic Council fleet. It was an old trading post, hastily repurposed for diplomatic talks that neither side particularly wanted. Admiral Krex arrived with a delegation of 12 high-ranking officials, each carrying data tablets filled with meticulously prepared demands, military assessments, and negotiation strategies developed by the finest minds in the Galactic Council. The humans sent Dave. "Sup," said Dave Miller as he sauntered into the conference room, 20 minutes late. He wore cargo shorts, a Hawaiian shirt emblazoned with cartoon aliens holding surfboards, and flip-flops. His official title was Assistant Deputy Cultural Liaison, which mainly involved explaining human jokes to confused aliens at embassy functions. "Where is your diplomatic delegation?" demanded Krex, all four arms rigidly positioned in formal diplomatic posture. "Oh, it's just me," Dave replied, dropping into a chair and propping his feet on the ancient table. Everyone else was busy with actual work. "No offense." The alien delegation exchanged glances loaded with confusion and indignation. "This is an insult," hissed cultural specialist Plink. "Sending a single junior diplomat to peace negotiations violates at least 17 protocols in the Galactic Standards of Diplomatic Engagement." Dave pulled a candy bar from his pocket, unwrapped it, and took a large bite. "Yeah, about that. We don't actually recognize those standards since we never signed them. Also, this isn't a peace negotiation because, well, we're not at war. We declared war 3 solar rotations ago." Krex's mandibles clicked rapidly in frustration. "Right, we got that memo," Dave nodded, chewing. "But declaring war requires both parties to acknowledge the state of war. We just kinda didn't. No offense, but it's like being challenged to a duel by a toddler. It's cute, but we're not going to show up with pistols." Legal advisor Jerks, a being resembling a sentient cloud of purple gas contained in a pressurized suit, floated forward. "The Galactic Council War Declaration of 3478.6 specifically states." "Let me stop you right there," Dave interrupted, raising a hand. "Earth hasn't ratified any Galactic Council declarations, conventions, or even their lunch menu recommendations. Legally speaking, your war declaration has about as much standing as me declaring war on Jupiter for being too gassy." Admiral Krex slammed all 4 fists onto the table simultaneously. "Your insolence exceeds all bounds. The Council fleet stands ready to rain destruction upon your worlds." Dave took another bite of his candy bar, completely unfazed. "About that fleet, our scans show you've got some pretty serious engine inefficiencies. Your antimatter containment is leaking like a sieve. Must cost a fortune in fuel." Science Officer Quick stirred with interest despite the tension. "Your sensors can detect our antimatter containment field integrity from that distance." "Oh, we weren't using sensors," Dave said with a casual wave. "One of our physicists just looked at some photos and did the math in her head. Noticed the subtle blue shifting around your engine cores." He pulled out his phone. "She actually sent me some upgrade suggestions if you guys want them. Could improve your efficiency by like 800% or something." A profound silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. "What exactly do you humans want?" Krex finally asked, his voice unnervingly quiet. Dave sat up straight for the first time since entering the room. "Honestly, to be left alone to do our thing. We're kind of busy right now with some cool projects. Did you know we're terraforming Venus? Super challenging, but the simulations are promising. Oh, and we're also restructuring our economy to eliminate scarcity, developing consciousness transfer technology, and a bunch of our teenagers are designing new particle physics models for fun." He leaned forward, suddenly serious. "Look, we get it, we're the new kids on the galactic block. We don't follow your protocols, we send inappropriate cat videos. But here's the thing, we're not trying to be disrespectful, we just operate differently. You refuse to categorize your technology according to council standards," Plink pointed out. Dave shrugged. "Your categories don't make sense to us. You've got this linear progression model, but our tech development was kinda all over the place. We invented social media before we cured cancer. We had nuclear weapons before we had electric cars. We're weird, I admit it." He stood up, brushing crumbs from his ridiculous shirt. "Anyway, our actual diplomats drafted this." He slid a single sheet of paper across the table. "It's a non-aggression pact. Super simple. You don't bother us, we don't bother you. We'll show up at your fancy council meetings occasionally, and try not to laugh too loudly at the ceremonial headgear." Admiral Krex stared at the paper, then at Dave, then back at the paper. "This document is written in crayon," he said finally. "Blue crayon," Dave corrected with a grin. "It's our official diplomatic color this month. Last month was magenta, but we had some complaints about readability." As the alien delegation collapsed into confused murmuring, Dave checked his watch. "Oh, I should mention, your destroyers, that we turned around earlier. We took the liberty of upgrading their shield generators, while they were in our control. Small thank you gift. Nothing major, just about 300% improved efficiency." He gave them a friendly wave as he headed toward the door. "Take your time with the non-aggression pact. We're pretty patient. Oh, and maybe don't try attacking Earth again. Our automated defense systems sometimes have a sense of humor, and well, it's not always funny to non-humans." The door closed behind him, leaving behind a room full of stunned aliens, and the faint scent of sunscreen and chocolate. Admiral Krex stood on the bridge of the inevitable victory, dignity in tatters but resolve intact. The diplomatic approach had failed spectacularly. The humans had sent a man in a tourist shirt with a crayon document. The insult could not stand. "Prepare all ships for full assault," Krex commanded, his voice echoing across the massive bridge. "The humans have refused our generous terms for surrender. Now they will witness the true might of the Galactic Council." The massive fleet of 500 warships moved into attack formation, a sight that had made countless civilizations tremble throughout the millennia. Energy weapons charged, creating a spectacular light show visible from 3-star systems away. "Sir," ventured Tactical Officer Bleem, "perhaps we should reconsider. After the incident with our destroyers, the destroyers experienced a localized anomaly." Krex snapped. "It was likely a fluke, a lucky technological accident. The humans are bluffing. Their confidence is a facade." Science Officer Quex's plant-like appendages rustled with anxiety. "Admiral, I've been analyzing the data from our previous encounter. The energy signature that disabled our ships doesn't match any known technology in our database. It's as if they're operating on entirely different scientific principles." "Impossible," Krex insisted, though doubt had begun creeping into his mind like an unwelcome parasite. "Launch the attack. All ships, fire on my command." Back on Space Station Omega, the mood was decidedly more festive. Captain Ellie Bronson and her senior staff were gathered in the observation lounge, watching the alien fleet through the panoramic windows. Someone had brought popcorn. "They're charging weapons," Marcus Wong observed, munching a handful of popcorn. "Looks pretty serious this time." Rex Murphy nodded appreciatively. "Got to give them credit for persistence, if not for intelligence." "Options?" Ellie asked, more out of professional courtesy than actual concern. Dr. Olivia Patel shrugged. "We could activate the station's defense grid, though that seems like overkill." "What about Terry?" Danny Cooper suggested. "He's still out there testing the stealth scout, right?" Ellie's face lit up with mischievous delight. "That's perfect, Danny. Get Terry on the line." A moment later, test pilot Terry Blake's face appeared on the view screen. He was a lanky man with perpetually disheveled hair, and the excited expression of someone who found the universe to be an endless source of entertainment. "Captain, perfect timing. I was getting bored out here by Jupiter. How's the alien situation going?" "They're about to launch an all-out attack," Ellie informed him. "Would you like to handle it?" Terry's grin widened to alarming proportions. "Would I? Is this Christmas? Is it my birthday? You're letting me use the prototype against actual targets. Just don't destroy their ships," Ellie cautioned. "Remember, this is basically interstellar community theater. We're humoring them." "Scout's honor," Terry promised. making a gesture that definitely wasn't the scout salute. Engaging stealth mode now. This is going to be epic. Back on the inevitable Victory, Admiral Krex gave the command, all ships fire. 500 warships unleashed their firepower simultaneously, creating a dazzling array of energy beams, plasma torpedoes, and graviton pulses all directed at Earth and its orbital installations. It was the most impressive display of military might the galaxy had seen in a millennium. Not a single shot reached its target. Halfway to Earth, every energy beam, every torpedo, every pulse simply vanished. There was no explosion, no defensive barrier, no counterattack. The massive barrage of firepower simply ceased to exist. What happened? Krex demanded, his exoskeleton paling to an ashen gray. Where did our attack go? Before anyone could answer, every screen on the bridge suddenly displayed the same image, a human face. Terry Blake grinned at them, waving cheerfully. Hi there, Terry Blake, human test pilot extraordinaire, at your service. Sorry about your weapons fire. My ship's matter conversion system kind of ate it. Don't worry, we converted all that energy into something useful. On cue, a dazzling light show erupted in space around the alien fleet. The energy from their weapons had been transformed into a spectacular stellar display that spelled out words in the common galactic script. Nice try, a plus for effort. Terry's face reappeared. Pretty cool, right? Oh, by the way, I should mention I'm currently sitting about 20 meters from your command ship. You can't see me because, well, stealth technology and all that, but I can see you. He waved again. Hi Admiral Krex. Love the mandible polish. Very shiny. The bridge of the inevitable Victory erupted in panic. Officers frantically scanned for the human vessel, but their sensors detected nothing. Impossible, whispered Krex. No stealth technology can evade our quantum detection grid. Yeah, about that, Terry continued, munching on what appeared to be a sandwich. Your quantum detection is based on Heisenberg-Mavic principles, right? We moved past that about 30 years ago. Turns out reality has a few more layers than you guys discovered. Anyway, don't mind me, just observing. For science. The alien fleet hung motionless in space, their mighty weapons rendered useless, their most advanced detection systems blind to a single human ship that was apparently close enough to see the shine on the Admiral's mandibles. Should we retreat? Asked Fleet Tactician Zorb, their gelatinous form quivering with fear. Admiral Krex stared at the human on the screen, who was now attempting to balance a pencil on his nose while his ship supposedly sat invisible in the heart of the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. The 1,000-year peace was indeed over, but it wasn't a war that had replaced it, it was a humiliation. The grand amphitheater of the Galactic Council, so recently filled with war fervor, now simmered with uncomfortable silence. High Counselor Vexter's crystalline form seemed dimmer, less imposing as he faced the assembly. The incident with the human species has been resolved, he announced, carefully avoiding the word surrender, though everyone knew that's exactly what had happened. A mutual agreement of non-interference has been reached. On a small platform to the side stood Dave Miller, still in his Hawaiian shirt but now paired with flip-flops that lit up with each step. Next to him stood Captain Ellie Bronson in her formal uniform, maintaining an admirably straight face. Would the human representatives like to address the council? Vexter asked, mandibles clicking in what the more observant species recognized as extreme discomfort. Thanks, but we're good, Dave replied, giving a thumbs up. The crayon document pretty much covers everything. A murmur of confusion rippled through the assembly. Admiral Krex, seated in the military section with his remaining dignity wrapped around him like a tattered cloak, sank lower in his seat. Perhaps, Vextor persisted, you could explain to the council why your species reacted with such casualness to our declaration of war. Surely you understand the gravity of the Galactic Council's displeasure. Ellie and Dave exchanged glances. With a slight nod from Ellie, Dave stepped forward. Look, it's nothing personal, Dave explained, addressing the entire assembly. It's just that from our perspective, your technology is, how do I put this delicately, adorably primitive, Ellie supplied. Right, that, Dave nodded. It would be like if your pet goldfish declared war on you. You wouldn't be scared, you'd just be concerned about what the goldfish might do to hurt itself in the process. The silence in the chamber deepened as thousands of alien representatives processed this deeply unsettling comparison. Impossible, declared a Zentari representative. their tentacles writhing in agitation. Human technology was assessed upon their discovery 60 years ago. They had only rudimentary space travel, primitive weapons, and no understanding of quantum principles. Yeah, about that, Dave said, scratching his head. 60 years is a long time for us. We develop fast. Science Officer Quick stepped forward from the military section, plant-like appendages quivering with intellectual excitement despite the tense situation. I've analyzed the data from our encounter, Quicks announced. The human vessel that neutralized our fleet's attack was employing technology that violates what we understand as the fundamental laws of physics. It's as if they're operating with an entirely different scientific paradigm. That's because we are, Ellie confirmed. We hit what we called the quantum cascade about 40 years ago. One discovery triggered another, then another, exponentially. We essentially found a shortcut through scientific development that your civilization. A shocked murmur swept through the chamber. But why didn't you share this knowledge? Demanded Vextor. The Galactic Council mandates the sharing of all technological advancements. Dave snorted. No offense, but we reviewed your technological development protocols. They're designed to maintain the existing power structure and prevent rapid advancement. We decided to opt out. Also, Ellie added, we tried to file our advances with your science division 3 times. Each time we were told our submissions did not conform to established scientific principles and were rejected. After the 3rd time, we just stopped bothering. Admiral Krex finally found his voice. If you possess such advanced technology, why haven't you expanded beyond your solar system? Why haven't you established colonies, claimed territories, built an empire as any sensible species would? Dave and Ellie exchanged another glance, this one containing a hint of genuine pity. Because we're not interested in empires, Ellie said simply. We've been focusing inward, not outward, solving our own problems, improving our quality of life, exploring scientific questions for their own sake. Also, Dave added with a grin, we've been having way too much fun watching galactic soap operas. Your political dramas are better than anything we could make up. High Counselor Vextor's crystalline form darkened with what might have been embarrassment. Then the rumors are true. Your species has achieved post-scarcity. Mostly, Ellie confirmed. We still have challenges, but material needs aren't among them anymore. A Nexilian representative rose from their seat. If the humans are so advanced, why did they agree to this peace negotiation at all? Why not simply ignore us or destroy us? Because we're not jerks, Dave said with a shrug. We may laugh at your war declarations, but we respect your right to exist and govern yourselves. We just want the same courtesy. As the council processed this information, a small alert chimed on Ellie's wrist device. She glanced at it, then whispered something to Dave, whose eyes widened before he broke into a broad grin. Well, this has been fun, Dave announced to the chimp. But we should probably wrap this up. Captain Bronson has just been informed that we've achieved a breakthrough in dimensional folding back home, and she's been waiting for this particular experiment for months. Dimensional folding, repeated Vextor, the concept clearly beyond his comprehension. Yep, it's super cool, Dave said enthusiastically. Basically taking shortcuts through reality. The math is pretty intuitive once you get the basic principles. I could explain it, but, he glanced around at the bewildered alien faces, maybe another time. As they turned to leave, Admiral Krex called out one final question, unable to contain his curiosity. Just tell us one thing. Were you ever worried? Even for a moment, Ellie paused and considered the question seriously. There was one moment, actually. When you first declared war, the Admiral straightened slightly, a hint of pride returning to his posture. We were concerned, Ellie continued, that you might accidentally damage your own ships trying to attack us. Our defense systems are mostly automated, and programmed to prevent harm to any sentient life, including yours. We were worried they might not react quickly enough if you did something particularly reckless. With that parting statement, the humans departed, leaving behind a galactic council fundamentally changed, a pantheon of elder species forced to confront the humbling reality that they were no longer at the pinnacle of development. 3 days later,
When the Galactic Council received a formal application from humanity to recategorize Earth from emerging civilization to post-singular civilization, they approved it without debate. And when attached to that application, they found a gift, the complete mathematical proof for dimensional folding, translated into all major galactic scientific languages. Many began to wonder if the 1,000-year peace had truly ended after all. Perhaps something better had taken its place. Understanding. Though of course humans still sent the occasional cat video, some things never change.